This is how Trump will win in 2024.
The left-wing gender insanity being pushed on our children is an act of child abuse. Very simple. Here's my plan to stop the chemical, physical, and emotional mutilation of our youth. On day one, I will revoke Joe Biden's cruel policies on so-called gender-affirming care. Ridiculous. A process that includes giving kids puberty blockers, mutating their physical appearance, and ultimately performing surgery on minor children. Can you believe this? I will sign a new executive order instructing every federal agency to cease all programs that promote the concept of sex and gender transition at any age. I will then ask Congress to permanently stop federal taxpayer dollars from being used to promote or pay for these procedures and pass a law prohibiting child sexual mutilation in all 50 states. It'll go very quickly. I will declare that any hospital or healthcare provider that participates in the chemical or physical mutilation of minor youth will no longer meet federal health and safety standards for Medicaid and Medicare and will be terminated from the program immediately. Furthermore, I will support the creation of a private right of action for victims to sue doctors who have unforgivably performed these procedures on minor children. The Department of Justice will investigate Big Pharma and the big hospital networks to determine whether they have deliberately covered up horrific long-term side effects of sex transitions in order to get rich at the expense of vulnerable patients, in this case, very vulnerable. We will also investigate whether Big Pharma or others have illegally marketed hormones and puberty blockers, which are in no way licensed or approved for this use. My Department of Education will inform states and school districts that if any teacher or school official suggests to a child that they could be trapped in the wrong body, they will be faced with severe consequences, including potential civil rights violations for sex discrimination and the elimination of federal funding. As part of our new credentialing body for teachers, we will promote positive education about the nuclear family, the roles of mothers and fathers, and celebrating rather than erasing the things that make men and women different and unique. I will ask Congress to pass a bill establishing that the only genders recognized by the United States government are male and female, and they are assigned at birth. The bill will also make clear that Title IX prohibits men from participating in women's sports, and we will protect the rights of parents from being forced to allow their minor child to assume a gender which is new and an identity without the parents' consent. The identity will not be new, and it will not be without parental consent. No serious country should be telling its children that they were born with the wrong gender, a concept that was never heard of in all of human history. Nobody's ever heard of this, what's happening today. It was all when the radical left invented it just a few years ago. Under my leadership, this madness will end. Thank you very much.
That right there is exactly what he needs to do to become the next president. All across the country, moms, dads, brothers, sisters, everyone is sick and tired of this radical, insane gender ideology. And to see him lean into it, he's not just like skirting the edges. He's not dancing around it. He's not dog whistling or signaling that he might be taking this seriously. He is hitting this head on. Donald Trump is going to win the 2024 presidential election because he's willing to fight the culture war, because he's saying what we have all been thinking, what we have been begging to have someone say for the longest time, for him to stand up and just promote common sense, for him to spit absolute facts for that 3-minute video. Thank you for bearing with me through that. It was just exceptional. What he's talking about with schools and losing funding and how the federal government will only recognize male and female. That is amazing. That's everything that I ever could have asked for. Truthfully, I'm a little bit surprised. Not to say that I had low expectations for Trump, but this is next level. This is my favorite version of Trump that I've ever seen. This is better than his 2016 campaign promises, his 2020 campaign promises. 2024 Donald Trump is leaning into social issues. He's rejecting degeneracy. He's leaning heavily into America's Christian foundation. This is what we need to see, and this is how he will win. No more of this bullcrap. No more laissez-faire libertarian approach of, oh, it's fine, they can do what they want, it doesn't affect me. Listen, I had somebody comment that on one of my recent videos. This laissez-faire kind of libertarian approach of, why do you care? It was a Dylan Mulvaney video. Why do you care about what Dylan Mulvaney does with his body? Because what he does is not just an isolated event. It's about the bigger picture. Stop focusing on the micro and start focusing on the macro. What our culture accepts, what becomes commonplace and celebrated in our culture, it doesn't just affect one single individual, it affects everybody. It affects the world that your kids, your grandkids are going to have to grow up in. And if we step onto this slippery slope and we start pursuing degeneracy and rejecting common sense and biblical morality, yes, that is going to affect me. It's not the exact same as somebody running up and punching me across the face, but it is absolutely something that will directly affect me. It'll affect my kids, my grandkids, and everyone else in this country if we allow the acceptance of collective insanity, outright perversion, and delusion. Anyways, as you can tell, I absolutely love this new Trump. Let me know what you think. Drop a comment, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification icon, do everything that's YouTube. You all know what YouTube likes, what YouTube doesn't like. Make sure you do all that stuff. Until next time, keep me in your prayers. Keep your country in your prayers. God bless.